Hello everyone. Today we will study the second part of standard trade model. In the last class, we learned the components of standard trade model, such as production possibilities, frontiers, as value lines, indifference curve. By using those components, we analyzed the relationship between production possibility frontiers and relative supply curves, and the relationship between relative prices and the relative demand. In today's class, we will analyze the effect of the term of trade on the nation's welfare. And then we will talk about how world equilibrium is determined by world relative supply and the world relative demand. Now, let's discuss the welfare effect of changes in the term of trade. First, let's understand the concept of term of trade. Term of trade is defined as the price of the goods a country exports divided by the price of the goods it imports. In the case of our class, the economy exports clothes and import food. So, the relative price of clothes to food is the term of trade of the economy. According to our analysis before, the rise of relative price of clothes can shift consumption from the lower indifference curve to the higher indifference curve. The nation is made better off. Why? Because a higher relative price for exports means that country can afford to buy more imports. So, an increase in the term of trade increases a country's welfare. Conversely, if the relative price of clothes decline, the nation would be made worse off. So we can make a general statement that a rise in the term of trade increases the country's welfare, while a decline in term of trade reduces its welfare. However, no matter how the country's term of trade changes, it can never decrease the country's welfare below its welfare level in absence of the trade. That means trade always improves the welfare of a nation. In the discussion we made before, we always suppose the rise or decrease of the relative price of clothes. But we haven't talked about the reasons why the relative price will be increased or decreased. Now, we will talk about that. What determines the change of relative prices? We will use equilibrium analysis, which considers the supply side and the demand side. Let's look at figure 1a. Suppose that the world economy consists of two countries. One is home country, which exports clothes, and the other is foreign country, which exports food. So, home's term of trade can be measured by PC divided by PF, while foreign's terms of trade can be measured by PF divided by PC. We assume that these trade patterns are induced by difference in home's and foreign's production capabilities, as represented by the associated relative supply curve in the figure 1a. In the figure 1a, RS is the relative supply curve for home country. RS star is the relative supply curve for foreign country. RS world is the relative supply curve for world. Because home country export clothes and foreign country import clothes, the relative supply curve for home country will be lower than the relative supply curve for foreign country, just like figure 1a shows. RS star is higher than RS. We also assume that two countries share the same preference and hence have the same relative demand curve. Now, let's consider word's relative supply curve. That is RS word. At any given relative price PC divided by PF, home will produce quantities of crops and food QC and QF, while foreign produce quantities QC star and QF star. The relative supply of crops to food for home country will be more than that for foreign country. The relative supply for wood is then obtained by summing those production levels for both crops and food and taking the ratio QC plus QC star divided by QF plus QF star. So the relative supply curve for the world must lie in between the relative supply curve for both countries as shown in the figure 1a. In the figure 1a, suppose there are no differences in preference across the two countries. The relative demand curve for the world overlaps with the same relative demand curve for home and foreign country. Look at figure 1a. The equilibrium relative price for trading world is then decided by the intersection of world relative supply and demand at point 1 in the panel A. The equilibrium relative price will be PC divided by PF1. Look at the figure 1b. In a trading world, at the equilibrium relative price, home country will produce at Q and consume at D. Home will export clothes QC minus DC and import food DF minus QF. The same to foreign country. Foreign country will export food QF star minus DF star and import DC star minus QC star. Because trade happens between two countries, QC minus DC matches up with DC star minus QC star, and the DF minus QF matches up with QF star minus DF star. This is the end of today's class. Thank you.